Hey guys, so we are also talking about the clean and jerk today, which we are now doing the Olympic movements in this cycle from the floor. And the reason that we are doing that is that Olympic movements usually do start from the floor, unlike in the previous cycles. We've been doing a lot of position work from the hang, hip, below the knee, and above the knee. So Rocio will be initiating the clean and jerk, and the first step is that she is going to use her legs, hips, and back to pull that barbell off the floor and into her, landing in that front squat, which we also talk about in this cycle. Now from here, she's going to have her elbows slightly in front of the barbell, not like in a front rack position, but just slightly in front, so she can use those forearms as she dips straight down and up and lands in that split stance to push that weight overhead. Now she'll recover, and that is how you do clean and jerk, and we'll be doing a lot of that in this cycle, and hope you get a lot of PRs.
So a movement we thought would be fun to incorporate into the fitness programming in this cycle is the dumbbell press and the split. What we're doing with the press and the split is we are trying to get you comfortable in that split stance of the clean and jerk, except using dumbbells to help encourage the stability just a little bit more and obviously strengthen that overhead pressing position. So Susie's in the split, she's going to stay in this position the entire time as she starts pressing up overhead, fast, elbows in nice and tight. She's bringing it right back down to her shoulders and she's pressing straight up. Notice her function is vertical and parallel, and her back foot or her back knee is bent. She's on the ball of her foot. This is the most stable position in this movement. So what we would suggest is getting into a nice little staggered stance, just to create a little bit more stability, pressing up, not coming up with the dumbbells. So we can't forget about the core. What we've added into this cycle is the reverse crunch. Becca's going to demo the reverse crunch for us. She's going to hold onto the rig, make sure her arms are just slightly bent. Slowly, she's going to rise her hips up as high as she can, looking to bring her knees towards her elbows, and then lower under control. As soon as her low back hits this floor, she's extending her legs, trying to make sure that her low back is completely and entirely flat against the floor, not going any further than that. Okay? So what we're trying to do here is not just strengthen the abs and get that six-pack, right? But also we're trying to allow you to control the core and really, really engage that core so that this can transfer into a lot of other CrossFit movements that we do here at the gym.
So we're bringing squats into this cycle, shouldn't be any surprise, but we've been working on a lot of back squatting. This cycle we're going to transition into the front squat. After building up a lot of overall leg drive and strength from the back squat from our previous cycles, the front squat is a perfect complement to it. We're going to be focusing on front squatting, not only with a front rack position, but I want you to also focus on a good front rack position and working on getting as much as your hands around the bar as possible. That really improves a lot of things, not only in flexibility, but also in CrossFit when it comes to doing thrusters and things like that. You have more control over the bar. So please make sure that you're focused on that. We're going to be building up to a higher maximum also, rep range wise, just so you guys are getting more comfortable with this front rack loading and doing it multiple times before we progress into doing it just heavier. This has a great transition into CrossFit movements, as well as anything else that you're doing. So good luck with this one, guys. Enjoy the front squat. It's one of the tougher squats there is.
Hey guys, so today we'll be talking about the front squat. We're incorporating them into this cycle, where in previous cycles we've been doing a lot of back squats. So Model Rocio will be approaching that barbell. She's going to get those elbows nice and high, creating a shell for herself on her neck. She's going to back up. And the way that she initiates this movement is by getting into a squat stance where her feet are about shoulder width apart. Her hips are going to descend back and down. She's going to pause, because we have a pause in this cycle of the first rep. She'll be coming up. And then the rest of the squats will be just up and down, up. Go ahead and rack it. And the reason that we have that pause in that first rep, guys, is we want to create a lot of comfort at the bottom position. You're also keeping your glutes and legs under tension for a lot longer, which creates strength coming up. Okay, so we really think that's important for you guys, especially if you're moving on to Olympic lifting. It helps you with those squat cleans. And in front squats, it also uses a lot of different muscles that you would with a back squat. We are engaged with our core, and we have our core braced because we need to keep those elbows nice and high. Otherwise, if our core is not strong, our elbows are going to come down and that barbell is going to collapse. Also, you're using a lot more of the upper and middle back muscles, which also helps strengthen those, unlike the back squat. So a new movement that we're doing on this cycle, and I'm really excited about, is the bent over row, except with a wider grip, guys. So right now, Becca, what she's going to do is she's going to initiate it by picking up that barbell, having that wider grip. She's going to stand up to her hip, and now what she's going to do is have that soft bend to her knee, and bring her chest parallel to the floor. She's still going to have her gaze slightly up, but what she's going to do now is that hold up that barbell right up to her sternum, or right below it. And as you can see now, with that wider grip, it stops you from using so much arm like you would with a regular bench over row, and she has to use her rear delts, lats, and upper back instead of all those arms. So that is why now we are doing the bench over row, but with a wider grip, so we can get this back stronger for you guys.
Hey guys, I'm here to discuss a little bit about what the strength looks like for Wednesday. Some of you may notice after week 1 that things are a little bit different. It's not just like a standard lift, a deadlift or push press or things like that. It's different things at different positions, so I want to talk about it. So one thing that we've noticed is a lot of us, when we struggle in gymnastics and dipping and push-ups and even pull-ups, it's in certain positions and not in the entire movement. Some of you may notice that doing a pull-up, you're really good till you get to about here, and then that last couple inches is really hard. Or when you're doing a push-up or a dip, it's that bottom position that's super difficult for you to make sure that you can maintain position on, as well as some other things to help with that, which is like some carries or other accessory lifts to really help balance you guys out in your fitness. So when you're doing this on Wednesday, try to realize that these little components, these little strength movements, when they get back to the original bigger movement, will make such a big difference in your fitness. So be really concentrated on doing everything precise as well as you can possibly perform it, so that you can have the most benefit for it at the end of this cycle. Because these are movements that we've struggled with in the past, so doing these little pieces of them will help bring them up in the future. So give it your best, guys. Another portion of this cycle, you'll be doing some deadlifts. I know a lot of us are familiar with deadlifts, but for a strength portion, we're going to be focused on high volume deadlifting. So we're going to be building up to a higher rep maximum than we usually have, 1, 3, 2, 5, like that. We're going to get deeper into this to really help overall make you feel more confident when you're doing workouts, and also too to develop a little bit more in your grip strength. So when you're doing this cycle, I want you to really focus on the deadlift. You're going to be doing a lot of reps, focus on your breathing and bracing with each rep, and realize that this is going to help you perform so much better in CrossFit workouts, and also build in a strength endurance piece that's something really important for what we do in CrossFit and your everyday life. It's not many times that we only pick something up once and we're done for the day. It's multiple times of picking things up, so we're just trying to get us stronger during that. Good luck, guys.
We are going to go over the full snatch, which we are doing in this cycle. In the previous cycles, we've actually been building into the full snatch. We've been doing a snatch from above the knee, we've done a snatch from below the knee, and now we're finally doing the snatch from the floor. So we've been building up to this movement. So when Joe sets up for the snatch, he's going to get his butt down, his chest is going to be nice and tall, and his back is going to be very tight. Okay? As he pulls, he's going to pull all the way into him, get a big shrug at the top, and a full squat. Stand it up. That'll be the full snatch. That'll be the full snatch for this cycle. Make sure you're working on keeping the bar close, keeping your back tight when you pull off the ground, and pulling it into you.
Through the phone.
So in this cycle, we are also working on the Russian kettlebell swing. The main purpose for working on the Russian kettlebell swing, guys, is to work the power in the hips and strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings. Okay? So what Susie's going to do, she's going to demo the kettlebell swing, but she's going to make sure she's picking the kettlebell swing up the very first rep with a nice tight back, chest up, hips down. She's going to stand up, go immediately into pushing her hips back, squeezing her butt at the extension to make sure her hips are nice and open. And she's just holding onto the kettlebell, not really using her arms to pull it up, but just letting her hips do all the work. That is the main purpose of the kettlebell swing. In this cycle, we are reintroducing the Turkish get-up. The Turkish get-up helps strengthen the shoulder and stabilize the shoulder, or helps stabilize the shoulder, due to the fact that that transfers into a lot of CrossFit movements. So what we're doing here is Becca's going to demo the Turkish get-up. She is going to lay on the floor, okay? Her arm is going to be fully extended with the kettlebell laying against her wrist. Her same leg on the same side is going to be bent, foot flat on the floor. She is going to roll onto her shoulder, knee, then the hand, slide through, take a nice seat, then slowly lower onto her back. Biggest thing that I've seen in this cycle thus far already, guys, with Turkish get up is just going really fast. Trying to stabilize your weight overhead and going really fast isn't going to allow you to do that. So try to go slow, pause in every position, take your time, look at the kettlebell the entire time, and you'll be just fine.
We're going to go over the protraction and retraction and the push-up position that we're going to be doing this cycle. The reason that we're doing this is because your shoulder blades and scaps, in other words, they are the main reason that a lot of us end up with shoulder injuries. When we don't have the muscle groups that are supporting those develop properly, we end up with a lot of impingements, a lot of issues going overhead. So we want to make sure that we're creating strength there so that the shoulder blades stay healthy, the shoulders stay healthy, and these push-ups become a little bit easier. Okay? So when you're doing them, you're going to start in the top position. And in this top, you not only want to be in a flat position, you actually want to push up through your shoulders to get this kind of grounding here. This is the muscles that are controlling those scaps there. On the way down, you immediately pull down and back the shoulder blades, and you retract all the way down as you pause at the bottom, keeping those shoulders pulled down and back, shoulders away from the ears. So then you press back up, pausing in each position, pushing up through that top position. Make sure you're not going backwards. You're directly over your ears.